Now, let's turn our attentions to the summer. The Belgrade Theatre, always busy, but on during the summer is a brand new musical. It's called The Prodigals, A Man Had Two Sons, which tells the tale of relationships within families and the consequences of our actions, not just as children, as parents. It's very simple, you see, family consequences. I was born, then my mum and dad went grey. Simple. There's a consequence for you. Anyway, the production of The Prodigals stars West End star Simon Bowman, who is on the line now to tell us a bit more about what we can expect. Afternoon, Simon.
Afternoon, Vic.
Oh, how lovely to hear from you.
Pleasure.
And nice to be speaking to me as well, I guess, rather than bursting into song every 5 minutes. Being a star of the musicals, you've been in pretty much everything, haven't you, in terms of the musical?
I have. I've been around the block a few times. Lucky for me, I've been when it was all a boom, when all the boom kicked in the late 80s and mid 70s. So yes, I was lucky to be around a little bit like 20 or 30 years ago when. Or more than that, actually, when Roger Hammerstein was taken over everything. So I was lucky enough to be around when it all kind of, the Phantoms and the Les Mises and the Miss Saigons all kicked off. So, yeah, very, very exciting period.
I bet it was. Is it as exciting, though? I mean, obviously, Les Mis and Miss Saigon, we've all heard of those. Is it as exciting to be part of something sort of completely new?
Well, I actually find it even more exciting because, obviously, when you actually go into shows, which is exciting enough to be in a big show, but when you're actually developing a show and you're the kind of the original person, if it, obviously if it takes off, then, you're actually creating a part into a brand new musical, and it's just so much more exciting to be kind of the first, which obviously happened to me on the Saigon show as well. But as I say, this present, the show that I'm doing is as equally exciting because, as I say, it did so well at the Edinburgh Festival, which was a shortened version of it. And this is the full-scale version, and I think it got 5 stars all around up in Edinburgh. So this is the big one, baby one at the Belgrade. So it's still obviously in development, but it's very exciting times.
So being sort of in at the ground floor, well, tell us then, because like you were saying, you sort of, Miss Saigon, you did this first time round. You made the part your own, I guess.
I did. In 1989, I created the role of another military part, Chris, the GI, and which was it was amazing, really, because, as I say, it was a world premiere, and it was almost as if, even though we opened in the West End all those years ago, it was almost like we were opening to the world on the first night, because it was like wildfire. It just kind of, everybody knew about it, Of course, that was a Cameron Mackintosh show, and he hasn't done bad since, but but yes, it was a while back. But it's, as I said, it's very exciting when you start doing a brand new production.
Do you feel, I guess, because Simon, you know what's going to work on the stage and what doesn't. Do you get a feeling in your bones? Do you think, do you know what, this is going to be special?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I actually said in an interview when they asked me about this particular show. I always go on my gut feeling. Obviously, I read scripts, I listen to music. I had the same thing about Saigon when it happened. And, of course, past shows that are afterwards, like Les Mis and Phantom and things. But you do definitely get a gut feeling. And, touch wood, I haven't made a kind of a mistake yet. But and I got the same feeling about this show. As I read the script and listened to the music, I thought, this is something that gives me a buzz. And this straight away is working for me. And, of course, in the development, as we go along in rehearsals, it can only get better. So absolutely, to answer your question, yeah, you do get a gut feeling and think, wow. Or sometimes you think, I'm not too sure. But whenever I'm not too sure, I usually give it a miss, So this is, as I said, this particular production is exciting for me.
You're getting a sort of similar feeling about you. What?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, it's something which is a challenge as well. And as I say, then this particular show is, as you know, called Prodigals. But it's obviously based on the biblical story of the prodigal son, which is one of the parables of Jesus, of course. And it's about Jesus' acceptance of sinners, and while his followers are outraged why he's accepting the sinners, this particular story is based in present military times in Afghanistan. So I actually play the father, which is a Colonel Luke Gibson, who has 2 sons in the regiment, and the elder son, who is a captain, and his younger son, who's just taken command of his first troop. I hope I'm not giving too much of the story away here.
No, that's fine.
But as I say, the younger son also has a local pop group of his who starts to do very well and gets involved in drugs and fertility, and he disgraces the family and the regiment and the father, obviously myself, whose unconditional love is for both sons, who overcomes all dignity and social convention to protect and forgive his younger son, which causes conflict again with the family and the regiment. But it does have a twist at the very end, and I'll stop there because, as I say, I'll have to come and see the show. But it's a very exciting, and the music is fantastic, and the script is so solid. And that's why, as I say, to get back to your question, it just gives me a buzz, and I thought, yeah, this is really exciting.
So for a musical to sort of to start out at the Belgrade, it's quite a coup for us, isn't it? Have you performed in Coventry before?
I have, yes, but I do believe, going back in the times, Coventry Belgrade was one of the places where a lot of production started and ended up in the West End when I first started out. So it's lovely to come back to the Belgrade. I've done a few concerts there in the past. But I just think, a lot of shows these days, instead of, ploughing so much money into them and opening in the West End, and then something is not quite right, so it's exposed to everyone, and then they have to either close the show for a few months or weeks to redo something. And I just think it's always better to try things out and correct the things that you need to correct, obviously outside, So I just think this is the perfect way to go about doing any tryouts, is to try it in theatres outside London. And obviously, when things start to go right, then hopefully you bring things in and present it then to the capital of England. So I think it's much more sensible and logical to try it out. And as I say, with the Belgrade being such a lovely theatre, I just think it's... and also, it's nice that when you actually kind of premiering something at the Belgrade, then, of course, that's always a proud thing for you lot, because it started there, if anything happens further on down the line.
Absolutely. Well, I have high hopes for this. I really do. Listen,
me too.
Simon, we'll look forward to perhaps welcoming you in person.
Absolutely. I would look forward to it.
That would be brilliant. Listen, thank you so much. That's Simon Bowman, star of the West End, coming to Coventry to start in Prodigals. A Man Had Two Sons. It's on the main stage from the 30th of August. We could be making a bit of history in our city. How ace would...